Hey guys, Rod here at A Better Way to Farm. Happy Monday evening. Hope you had a beautiful day like we did here. And I really pray for a lot of you that harvest is starting to line out. I talked to one of our friends today up in North Dakota and they've got water everywhere. And it's a challenging year and we know that. So as you're out there working on the combines, running the grain cart, I want to give you some things to think about. First of all, before I start, I want to draw some attention to, there was a really great podcast that was dropped, and it's Tyler Hall interviewing Nick Hunt. And guys, we've had some incredible reviews come in from that. And I encourage you, look us up, give a listen to that Better Way to Farm podcast, because I think there's a lot of nuggets in there for you that are solid gold. Now, today we talked about why not, and I know that flies in the face of conventional wisdom, why not to apply dry fertilizer this fall. And I'm going to give you 3 reasons to think about. The first reason is this. I think for the lion's share of us, we can all agree it's too wet, and everything we do is causing compaction. Yes, we have to do compaction. We're going to have to make some compaction to combine. Yes, we have to get the grain out of the field, but we do not have to double down and spread. The second thing to think about is what happens if we get lost due to erosion or just surface water runoff. I'm not getting into the erosion side of things. However, I do want to think about this. I think back to last year, and a lot of the guys out west of us applied fertilizer, and when they applied the fertilizer, they put it down on top of ice. The ground froze, then they got an ice storm, and they spread fertilizer on the ice. And so one of my friends out there went to one of the local people that sold fertilizer, and he said, hey, then that was in Nebraska, and along come all that flooding that they had there in real early spring or really late winter. And my buddy went in there and he said, hey, what happened to all that dry fertilizer that these guys put on top of that ice? And now there's literally a river running across millions of acres here, taking everything in its path. And the response that the guys told him was this: there's so much salt in that fertilizer that they didn't lose it because it burnt through the ice and got into the dirt. Cool. Excellent. So we are admittedly applying something that is so salty that it will burn through the ice. Guys, that doesn't make it a productive choice. It really doesn't. The third thing to think about, guys, is just the fact of time, pure time. It's November the 4th. Go out and vote tomorrow if you live in Iowa. A lot of your local elections are taking on. Tomorrow's the 5th, the first Tuesday. But today is November the 4th, and we're still trying to figure out how to get done harvesting. Guys fighting corn that's 22%, 27%, 37%. I talked to somebody today, and there's not enough time to get this done. And so here's what I want you to think about. 3 reasons: it's too wet and it's going to cause compaction. Number 2, what if we get loss due to surface water running off? And number 3, just the pure time of things. I think one of the funniest things, if you're in the right mood, that I heard was one day this week, in the last 7 days, I read there was a gentleman who was a weatherologist, meteorologist, whatever, and he thinks that there is a slight chance of increased flooding in the spring of 2020. And I'm sure they pay him big money to think of intelligent statements like that. Guys, here's the bottom line. The rivers are all still running bank full. You get up into the Dakotas, there's water everywhere. Minnesota's exceedingly wet. We are starting out with way above typical water levels. We have the opportunity here, if we get any kind of snow this year at all, I think it's safe to assume 2020 could really be interesting. And so consequently, we're going to have a lot of that surface water running. So what can we do? What's an alternative? Guys, our weather pattern is changing. There's no question about that. And maybe, rather than apply something and hope we get to plant, maybe we need to think about something that's not typical for us. What if we go and we grab some furrow jets? And we say, hey, we can put 6 gallon of starter on in the trench, and we can put another 10 or 12 on in the walls of the trench. And we can do everything in one pass. And then we can come back, and if push comes to shove and everything goes south on us, we can fly urea on to get our nitrogen on. Because if it's too wet to get in the field, urea will work because there's a lot of water there. I'm not sure that taking all of our money, shoving it to the middle of the table in the month of November and saying, we haven't seen any of our cards yet, but we're going to go all in on this hand. We're going to put it all in on 2020. when we don't even know what the first card looks like might not be the thing to think about. Guys, I'm not here to try and start an argument. Sometimes I'm okay with trying to get people to think and to spar a little bit. That's not what I'm doing. I just simply want you to think. There's no argument to be had. Guys, just consider, respectfully consider, what can I do different to help ensure more money next year? What are some things that might be completely out of my comfort zone and 100% different, but might just work? Listen to Nick talk about it in his podcast when you get to that. Think about this. What I'm saying scares you to death. I understand that. So what if you just take 25% of your acres and try it? The other 75%, you do it exactly like you're going to, what you're comfortable with, what you've always done, what grandpa did. That's fine. Do that. But take 25% and say, I'm going to give this a go. And I'm going to see if there is some way that I can do this differently, some way that I can do this better, and some way that will make me more money. And that's what we're going to look at. Guys, I always enjoy talking to you. Hopefully we're starting to get a little bit better here. We can start coming back and talking to you more. I do need to mention this. By the way, while I'm thinking of it, guys, our discounts the first period discounts are going to come to a screeching halt here on Wednesday. If you would be interested in saving up to 22.5% on your micronutrients, your seed germination aids, your surfactants, please give us a call, 641-919-5570. You get to talk to Karen, send her a text, get us a message here on the page. One of us will get to you. But guys, I just want you to think about this. I know it's a challenging fall. Let's think about how we can make 2020 a better year.